Macmillan Audio presents The Haunting of Hecate Cavendish by Paula Brackston. Read by Marisa Calin. One. Hereford, 1881. For more than 300 years, the ancient tomb had housed the remains of its occupant without threat of disturbance. Even the hungry rats and slithering worms had been deterred by its impenetrable walls, so that the cadaver within had, over the long, lonely centuries, quietly and gently turned to nothing more than dry bones. On the outer surface of the sarcophagus, generations of spiders had spun their webs, weaving away in the darkness, their layer of gossamer an external shroud for the long-deceased, long-forgotten person within. For so many years, all had been silent, as a grave should be, untroubled as a soul at peaceful slumber, dark as the deep-water moment before dawn. But then came that dawn, rising like a vengeful blaze, splitting the horizon, darkness from light, earth from sky, life from death, sundering the structures that kept each in its place, dragging souls from the deep, so that soon, with dreadful, unstoppable progress, the dead would rise. Hecate had been up at daybreak, following the habit her father had instilled in her. She took after him in so many ways. Her striking red hair, her restlessness, her hunger for knowledge, her fascination with things arcane and little understood. It was he who had insisted on her outlandish name, silencing his wife's protestations that it was heathen and uncivilized. "My dear," he had told her quietly but firmly in a voice that would brook no argument. "While I favor the modern pronunciation, Hecate, the origins of the name are both classical and ancient, and all speak of a woman of great fortitude and significance. Would you wish to label your daughter insignificant?" And so it had been decided. On this particular morning, she had good reason to wake up early, for this was to be the first day of her new life, the day she would leave the house merely a young woman, but arrive at the cathedral as its new assistant librarian. The thought that she would spend her time with regular access to the magnificent chained library thrilled her. The library was renowned for its collection of antique and obscure books, manuscripts, documents, and maps, and it would fall to her to help care for, restore, and catalogue them. As if that weren't reason enough to delight in her appointment as helper to Reverend Thomas, master of the library, she would also have the opportunity to study the famous Mappa Mundi. This was the jewel in the collection, one of the oldest and largest medieval maps in existence, filled with mysterious symbols, legends, wonders, and secrets. Hecate wasted as little time as possible pinning her hair into an acceptable bun and buttoning her blue woolen dress. The fine floral print and modest lace details on the cuffs stirred in her a mixture of irritation at the girlish style and guilt at being ungrateful for a gown of good quality. The frills and folderols that were a woman's lot were irksome to her, for she had always considered there were so many more interesting things to be doing than attending to one's own appearance. She barely glanced in the looking-glass, doing so only to confirm that her mother would not complain at her efforts, before descending the wide wooden staircase to the dining room. The handsome red-brick house she shared with her parents and younger brother Charlie was first and foremost a family home, ruled firmly by her mother, Beatrice, but sustained by the gentle benevolence of her father, Edward. While the rooms were well furnished, and carefully chosen paintings and vases left no space undecorated, the priority was for practicality and comfort over elegance and show. Or at least that was the aim of Mrs. Cavendish. Mr. Cavendish's fondness for collecting curious objects from his travels over a lifetime as an archaeologist fought against this somewhat, so that a bronze Egyptian goddess might find herself sharing a shelf with a Staffordshire china poodle, a desiccated scarab beetle, and a plain wooden box containing fire tapers. Hecate made straight for the sideboard and helped herself to kedgeree. On seeing his daughter, her father put down his newspaper. "Ah, how fares my little Hecate this morning? Are you prepared for your first day of employment?" "Indeed I am, father," she said, taking her seat at the table and tucking into her breakfast. "I am pleased."
Sample complete. Ready to continue?